We are HTLA Radio One. You will lower your shields and prepare to be boarded. We will add your distinctiveness, your advertisers, and your sponsors to our own. Resistance is futile.
This is Monday, December 2nd, 2013, and if you can hear me, then you are listening to Straight Talk with your host, this intellectual Kate Taylor, and her co-host, the unequivocally amazing Christopher Crash Jesus Taylor. This is HTLA Radio One, the world's best talk radio on the world's first all brilliantly exceptional, all utterly original talk entertainment programming ever. Not only is this our seasonal launch for all of HTLA, but it is our first Straight Talk since I took maternity leave to have our son Tristan. A lot has happened in a year, but the one thing you'll find is that we are still the call on the carpet, call you out, teach you how to survive stupid commentators, and outspoken global conscience that we have always been. And we do it with manners. So keep your iTunes, tablets, and browsers locked in with us as all of our shows resume.
That's right, honey, and it just keeps getting better and better, doesn't it?
It sure does.
So what do you think about that HTLA Radio One website, huh?
Oh, the new one.
Well, not the new one, because they haven't seen the new one, but we actually did a sort of a redesign on the old one.
Oh, right. So
right.
The premiere...
The red carpet premiere...
room.
Hootenanny, as it were.
Right. No, it's beauteous. It's just beauteous. But I can't wait until the Flash one is revealed.
Yeah, well, with the new shows that we got coming up this year, of course, you're going to be looking at things like, On the Boom, and the very controversial show. We're getting a lot of controversial things in the email about that. The lifestyle show.
Oh, right. Yes. Yes.
And, of course, the resumption of our ever-popular shows, which, of course, this being Straight Talk, hello.
Yes.
Crash Talk, yes, the wonderful Crash Talk. Real Talk.
My dear to my heart favorite, yes, can't wait, Wednesday.
Absolutely. And, of course, the old standby, Sex and the Kitty.
Oh, yes. And great advice on our rehearsals for the webisodes that we had talked about, that if anyone can possibly do so, to go and re-listen to the original seasons, for all the lessons there that we had done, and, try to get them in one six-pack kind of sort of thing.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Well, you better explained it than I did that day, so.
I can best explain the six-pack, yes.
Well,
Well,
right.
yeah, it's not the one on the tummy
No.
that I've been going for 75 years. No, it's the other six-pack.
No, not that drinking one.
No, not. Oh no, of course.
Not
I would
the
never,
drinking one.
never, ever be a proponent of drinking at all whatsoever. No,
Not six-packs, only cases.
that's right.
Right.
So with all the booze talk in open conversation now, it just makes me want to think about what's going on with tonight's show tonight.
Well, it's a seasonal premiere, and, generally we have our standards that, we get our seasons rolling a bit, and, kind of from the break previous, before we start having guests and doing the serious meat kind of shows. So tonight I'd actually thought, with all the sentimentality and reminiscing, and now, being having a newborn, you get kind of mushy and things like that. So I thought it was time to kind of go through the scrapbook of this, our baby, that is Straight Talk, and, talk a little bit about how it came to be, the kind of transitions it's gone through over the years, and, so we're going to review Straight Talk and as a show, and how we discuss the latest in societal conscience and why these issues merit our attention, and also how our guests fit into each show and in what way, personally, too, to them. So.
Well, and don't forget why our listeners should stay right here for the unvarnished truth.
Yes, our observed, combined, realized, unvarnished truth.
Well, tonight's less structured, guest-free episode is always my favorite type of show because, I'm my biggest fan. It's like crash talking with you interrupting me is what it is.
Yes, and then we all know how good I am at that. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, speaking of meat, and before I get into it, the meat of tonight's show really is, how about we take care of some station business, fine sir?
Right you are. Station business. Well, tonight's edition of Straight Talk is sponsored by... no guesses?
No guesses. Who's it sponsored by today? This is the new season. I haven't done anything corporately to...
Well, glad you asked then. It's good to bring it up. We are sponsored by PreSonus. That's the fine selection of audio gear that we use here and you can use there, and here and there. It's all good.
Everywhere.
It's all, everywhere, yes. So the fine folks at PreSonus have ponied up to support several of our shows.
That's right.
I've also got Chevy, lovely Chevrolet vehicles. Katy Perry apparently got herself a Blaze or something.
Did she?
It's in one of the commercials, I swear.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know what they paid her to buy a Chevy, but...
Well, I'm sure they gave her one. I don't think they made her buy one.
I would make her buy one. Yeah.
Yes, you would.
13 grand, Miss Perry. Sorry. And then also, I should mention that the show is always sponsored via Fierce Kitty Omnimedia.
Oh, yes, yay.
Now, to keep up with all the news and happenings, you can visit for yourself, HTLA973.com.
That's right. And as I was mentioning a little earlier, the upgrades are going to keep coming. We've got a new flash site with dazzling imagery from our talented graphics department. And, it's going to be amazing. And, of course, all of our newest season of webisodes will be there in crystal clear HD.
Absolutely. Actually, we're webisoding the video aspect of this show right now. We're not streaming it, so it's not available for viewing right now. We'll have to edit out the naked Chris and the Kate's hands wandering everywhere all over the studio. So
that's just my nerves, Daddy.
I was thinking we'd call it the nerve. Yeah. So the Flash website, that's because I like being naked so much, we decided we'd go with a Flash website. So that's
it's
currently...
not a Flasher website.
No. So it's currently under construction, and it'll be unveiled in the next coming weeks here. And everyone listening actually should really go and register a free profile at HTLA973.com to keep up on all the upcoming amusements and amazements, as well as the exclusive notifications and access to what's rolling for us next. Yes, the Taylors. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter for the station. It's, of course, HTLA973. For this show, it's at StraightTalk973. And for my beautiful wife's personal Twitter, you can tweet her, or twert her, or something, of course, at Fierce Kitty Kate.
Well, thank you so much. You are incredibly sexy and brilliant, and it's tweeting. Yes, it's tweeting.
Twerking. Tweet. No, that's Miley Cyrus's Twitter.
Yeah, that's her Twitter. Right?
Okay.
So, in addition to my Twitters and things and the shows and the stations, for my nonstop visionary husband's latest stuff, you can find out what he's up to by following his Twitter and tweeting him at Crash Talking.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Thank you. You know, nobody promotes me like you do, honey.
Or me, you, Daddy.
You know it. Finally, remember to join us here every week because we're going to be bringing our celebrity guest lineup shortly. And if you've been a fan until now, then you know that you never know who's going to show up on Straight Talk to talk straight. Now, before we roll on with the show, honey, it's time to say...
And I'm so excited, too, because it's the first time of season 4.
Right.
So is everybody ready?
Hold on to your butts.
So tonight's show is...
Powered by Procast.
Oh, yeah. Woo, it's even better than I remember.
Hot damn.
Oh, yes. That's just awesome.
That's in HD.
Yeah. It's lovely. Okay, so tonight we're going to do, like I said, kind of an homage to the show that started it all for us. And we're going to talk about how the unique concept of bringing the top guests in fields of entertainment, academics, politics, and literature to Straight Talk to discuss topics relevant to either their work or something personally attaching them to the topic, was begun. And sort of it's our own evolution as who and what we are, both personally and professionally, as well as what's happened on the air for our listeners and fans to be a part of. So this show and our guests have made us better, as their input has made this show better. So the whole of HTLA was begun in this vein 4 years ago to just, I guess, do better. That was what it was about. It was all about better, bigger, better, that sort of thing. So where we are now, we feel it's fitting to pay tribute to all it has been and all it's grown to be.
That's very true. From foreign threats to parade seekers, a term you'll hear us explain in future shows, I'm sure, to the degradation of entertainment that has been leading us all the way from the point, to the even more urgent crumbling and the foundation of who and what we are at the core of home and family.
Right.
I certainly can't remember a more unstable time to try and build or do anything.
Well, exactly. And that's what it is. A great many of our guests, although they're in the top of their field in entertainment, like I said, and literature and whatever it is that, like our one guest that paints, you'll see the active dog, it's on our website.
Right.
He paints portraits in homage to all the shelter dogs that are killed. Mm-hmm. So the shelter, as they're euthanizing these animals, give him a photo. Mark Brown, give him a photo of the deceased pet, and he will actually paint and then auction off the painting and donate that money there. So, but there's that human side of that story as well, what led he and his partner to begin this charity and get into this kind of work. So, it touches on the core of just about a lot of things. It's the human stories as well as, not just because we have celebrities on. It's not at all about their celebrity. Sure, we promote whatever they're doing, lately.
Yeah.
But if you'll notice when we did the premiere for 5 Days of War, the show was about the film, obviously, but it was also about the cast's experiences with the people in that village that had endured that and, how they translated their own personal human experiences and what they learned and how that allowed them to grow.
Well, I remember actually at the premiere, talking to Andy Garcia and John Scheck about the characters and the research into their roles and all that kind of good stuff. And, some of the horror stories that they, told me about what went on over there, that they would get third-hand accounts from the people that lived through it. It was staggering. It was something that sure, you watch a Vietnam movie and it's almost like being there, but no,
not even remotely.
No, and the interesting thing is, in 5 Days of War, they didn't use a whole hell of a lot of visual effects.
No. It was character piece, sort of, yeah. More than that.
And, for Rennie Harlan, that was kind of surprising to me because most of his stuff usually has more in terms of effects and that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, so it was definitely a different taste.
Right.
Well, film.
That's another thing that's, again, why I love this show. And this is one of my, there have been so many shows that have been emotionally draining. Oh, yeah. That after the show and the guests and the topics, when we did the show on suicide, with rapper OG Suicide, how he actually survived that suicide attempt, and then we did the entire rest of the show with people that had their own experiences and stuff. That was an emotionally draining show.
Well, it was for you. For me, not so much, because, my kind of opinion is still more straight line with the crash talk. If you're going to go out and be a gangbanger, well, you're going to get that kind of stuff, ain't you? And really,
Ain't nobody got time for that.
they just don't.
But that happened in his youth, too. That was a response. He didn't do that post-gangbang, and he did that, in a response to growing up in the foster homes and the traumas he'd endured as a child. So,
well, trauma,
But he based his entire career on that.
Oh, sure.
And that led us into that show. Another really good show that we did that was emotionally draining for us, because at the time we were going through it with our then 11-year-old daughter, was the bullying episode. Yeah. So that was a really good one. And believe it or not, she learned a great deal from that show.
Did she listen to it?
Of course. Yeah. She always listens to them.
When the hell does she listen to that?
Whenever she's allowed on the computer, she always listens to our shows.
That's almost never. So
yeah, this one, we don't allow her to listen to a great many of them, but this one we do, because this is our, this would be the network show.
That's right.
And the other ones are our cable shows.
Our cavemen shows. What?
Right. The Lifestyle's the All Access channel. So
I thought that was Sex and the Kitty. Oh,
no.
Did he say that?
Well, no, because as people who've followed our station and know me and my work know, that show's not a sex show.
I know.
It's not
know.
like
I just like playing with it because of the name. And I'm not the only one, by the way. I'll have you know.
Now you should do the drum, thanks. Yeah.
Oh, God.
That was a good one. Okay, so right. I mean, we're still doing this show.
Mm-hmm.
There's, like I said, at times it's been heavy, and at times we've had that 3-part series at Halloween, where we had all the paranormal experts. We had the psychic medium, and then we had the we had the ghost hunter, and then we had Ailey Martinez, the author, came and talked about his books, and and that was a great 3-part series. We did that one entire month of October leading up to Halloween.
Well, and this is something that very few of our listeners know, but ever since that Ailey Martinez show, I mean, if you know me at all, gang, you know that I don't really read. I don't like to read books. I'm visual,
right?
Coming from the film and TV world, I'm a visual guy. So reading books really isn't high on my list. And I mean, when Dr. Judd Newborn was on our show and he gave us that autographed copy of Sophie Scholl,
right? That was another heavy show. Yeah,
I tried to get through that. And being completely fair and honest, I didn't finish it yet. I still do have it over here.
Well, that's because Gia and I both read it, and we filled in the gaps for you in what you'd not finished. So. Fair
enough. But I got to say, with Ailey Martinez, his stuff was so good that got me reading again. I went out and bought all his books.
Well, that's your genre, too. Like you watch his sci-fi film and TV more than anything else, and that's your genre. So
yeah, that could be it.
That would be me. Anything horror, I'll do it, and I'll watch it, and I'll read it, and I'll... that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we've come to a place now where we realize that hindsight might be 20/20, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't open our eyes and address and redress imbalances in this country and the world, and with things that we hear about. This country in particular has fallen victim to.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think we'll get to that right after the commercial break here. We got to do that pretty quick, but we can only do what we can do. We call stuff like we see it and impart how we handle it and live it. But the one thing we never do, or can never do, being in the media, is stay silent to injustices and just plain wrongs.
That's right. And we want to make it clear that we, above all people, feel that everyone has a right to their opinion, happiness, and chosen way of life. Yeah, of course, us above all people, because we live it. But we also feel that when there's an irrepressible desire for freedom to do and say and be just because, that's irresponsibly expressed. And we're certainly not going to stand by without voicing our ideas and solutions about issues like that. So.
Right. When we return from our break, we'll talk about how Straight Talk got started, how the influential guest that made us think helped evolve this show into what it is today.
Right, including the famous disaster episode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, gang, if you want to check something out, you should scroll back through our history there and check out the disaster episode. We've definitely had our moments there. So join us after our first commercial break for exactly what I mean. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back after these really cool spots.
With 160 more miles per tank, the distances aren't getting shorter. The trucks are going farther. The new 2013 Ram 1500. With the best-in-class fuel economy, engineered to move heaven and earth. Guts, glory, Ram.
At LG, we dreamed of a day when you could rely on the perfect kitchen. We dreamed of a day when a dishwasher wouldn't require any pre-rinsing, when a refrigerator could be uniquely designed for better access and storage, when a washer could save 20 minutes on larger loads, and an oven would take minutes to clean instead of hours. And for you, that day is now.
The world is facing one of the biggest crises in the history of history. Girls are getting hotter and hotter. This is causing guys to lose their cool. It's happening everywhere. That's why the people at Axe have developed the new Axe Chill collection. It helps guys keep their cool before it's too late. Girls are getting hotter. Keep your cool with the new Chill collection from Axe.
Have I got a treat for you? New clean whipped cream foundation from CoverGirl. A delicious new recipe whipped up by Clean Makeup. They took their clean, fresh foundation, added a dash of hydration, then whipped it to smooth, matte perfection. Finally, a non-drying whip that wears like a dream. What a treat from Clean. New clean whipped cream from easy, breezy, beautiful CoverGirl.
Okay, we're back, and you're listening to Straight Talk with Kate and Crash on HTLA Radio 1 New York. It is 9:48 p.m., and we're honoring this show and what it's meant to us in the station, and hopefully to you, our loyal listeners and fans. So, we touched a little bit on some of the things that have occurred over the last 4 years. We originated this show, when was it? March or May in 2010? When was it?
In 2010, it was March.
March, right. And it was one of those M months.
Yeah.
Right. So, and the original concept for the show was, pretty much like I described. We wanted to tie in a serious kind of topical show with our friends and colleagues and incredibly interesting guests that, were in the top of their fields that had relations to the topic in question. So we didn't want to just have another guest interview show about entertainment, and, for example, we had Richard Pryor Jr. on and beautiful man Richie. And we almost, I think out of 4 minutes of that 90-minute show, we even mentioned his father. It was all about his mother and how she had raised him with the values and the things that make him what he is today. And, of course, his topic of interest was that whole, the transgender issue. And we spoke at length about that, and that was pretty good.
It was.
But we also promoted his upcoming show. It's not like we didn't, but, it's not about their celebrity.
No.
Right.
No, absolutely not. I mean, one of the things that I think he actually brought it up in the show, how he was grateful that we weren't all about his dad. And, kind of the way I look at it, and I know the way you look at it, is the world already knows his dad.
Right.
Whatever you want to say about that biography of that particular person, completely aside, everybody knows.
Yeah.
So what we wanted to do with Straight Talk and Richard Pryor Jr. was to actually extract him. We wanted to bring him out. Yeah. We wanted to really find out about him, find out about how he grew up under that.
Mm-hmm. But, right, it was about, we found out. Mm-hmm.
Right. And, it turned out to be a hell of a good show because we're giving people information directly from the man that really hadn't ever been released or discussed before in mainstream.
Right, and we do that, and we find that so many times with so many of our guests, and they come on and they're incredibly surprised.
Right.
Because, it's not about, whatever they're famous for, So this is absolutely like the wrong venue for somebody like the Kardashians or like, whomever's just out there doing whatever. We have seriously substantive guests on that actually have some serious things to say.
Absolutely.
But it's not always completely serious. We've had our hysterical shows too. And we've had our hysterical bumps in the morphing of what the show was. It wasn't always,
No.
Crash and Kate. It was, for a while there, we tried a panel format. And we'd gotten really serious and political, with the elections of that year. And, we had kind of a roundtable discussion, and it was like, I was the Hague and I was monitoring everybody's political debates and things like that. And, we tried that premise for a while, and a hell of interesting shows, with the political viewpoints.
I think that those shows, for what they were, definitely were good. And actually, subsequent to that, we do all of our own shows here at HTLA. Everything's all our own original content.
That's right.
So we do the concepting of the shows, the formatting of the shows. Basically, we're Kate and I are the ones that make the final decisions on what gets reworked and what doesn't. And with a show like Straight Talk with Kate Taylor,
that's right. That was the original.
That was the original title, and it was all you. And the panel of three. I mean, you had a PhD, or a psychologist or psychiatrist or something. You had the blue collar everyman, and then you had a media politico, I believe is what you called them.
Right. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That was your panel, and basically, we figured that making you the Hague
and mediating, correct, right?
I'm Switzerland, I think was the quote.
That was it. Yeah.
You were the one that would be amicable to the guests while the panel ripped them a new one.
Right, exactly. We wound up. The shows got so involved though in debate amongst each other that, the guests were
kind of left out.
Yeah, ancillary. Right.
Debates kind of went on, for an hour and a half or 2 days after the show.
2 days, right.
So yeah. So what we did is, we did that for, I guess we did it, about 3 months every week? Something like that. We did a lot of them.
Right.
Kate and I just sat down and thought, this isn't really where we want to go. We're almost getting into political talk radio. I mean,
right. Yeah.
At one point there, I'd actually said, should I change the logos to, New York's political talk radio?
Right. And we actually did discuss that. That's right.
Yes,
yeah.
we did. Yeah. Wow. But, with my background, 17 years film and television back on the West Coast and Kate's screenwriting and her film connections and whatnot in town here in New York, we just kind of felt that, no, you know what? Let's stick to what we know.
That's right.
And that's entertainment. So we'll stick to the film, the television, the fashion, the music industries. There's a hell of a lot of it based here, and we can take advantage of that. And we're already plugged into a number of those networks, so we've got already the inside track. And it's just kind of, I think because of those factors, that's what ultimately, made us decide to stick with, Straight Talk with Kate and Crash and just go and do basically the format that we saw last year.
Well, let's be honest now, because it was Straight Talk with Kate Taylor, and then I couldn't. There were weeks that I couldn't nail down a guest because they were busy and they were,
also true.
Schedules were tight. So, he started co-hosting a great many of the shows, and then I just kept him on permanently. So that's kind of how that went too. So, this is you're good. I think I'll keep you. That kind of thing. So it was just the evolution of the whole thing.
Well, that's true. I can't argue that. That's absolutely right.
And,
I just blocked that out.
Speaking of guests, we're not going to name names, but we have had some doozies. OMG.
Oh, man.
I mean, we've had the brilliant, obviously the best of the best, Rennie Harlan, and then A-list in film and television. We've had, Dr. Casey McNeil, NASA, he coaches the NASA people. He's that brilliant, So, and, oh gosh, celebrities up the yin yang, of course we've had. But we've had some people that, had just good press kits. and then we get them on the air, and oh wow, I'll just hint at not so normal.
And some of those guests too. It's interesting because when you're in the format of radio or internet broadcasting, as we are, the rules of radio still apply.
Of course.
If you send a radio station a hell of a nice press kit and your beautiful headshots and your great resume and this, that, and the next thing, and you look like a whole bag of chiclets, they, of course, well, okay, we'll put you on, we'll promote your thing, we'll do this, that, and the next thing. And they'll go and they'll set up the show, and then that person will actually call in and, they talk like Urkel.
Yeah, or they freeze, like if they get stage fright, or it's like the jacket of the book sounded really good.
Right.
And then the meat was just...
Content was nothing, yeah.
They do realize that one of the hosts is a writer, right?
Well, maybe not.
So they come on and it's just,
Well, and here's the other thing, too, that's kind of important to note and further sets, the bar apart from us to everybody else is that we're not just radio hosts.
Right.
Like you say, you're a writer. You write for TV. You write for film. You've done this for years. You've actually gone to 4 years of freaking school for it.
Right. And there's design background, so I do the life and style and the whole home thing, and now I have all that. Well, that's always been, and then there's the charitable functions that we do. So it's so funny. We've had a couple guests we had a couple. Guests that were on the show that we later found out were, in fact, kind of wanted for embezzlement and things like that after coming on proponing to be like this big philanthropic
charity cause. Yeah.
Right. And I, Taylor Family Trust, I co-chair that. And, that's a non-fundraising entity, but people still want to be attached to it because of obviously the network opportunities and, the fact that we do introduce, that's what we do. We hook charities up with other charities around the world and organizations with other organizations. That's what we do at the Taylor Family Trust. Mm-hmm. So, we've had guests, do whatever they could to get on and become a part of that because they know that once you're a guest on our show, it's, it's not the 20 minutes and you're out and we never talk to you again. You're a part of the HTLA family for life, and we continuously promote your stuff, and whatever your new stuff is, we'll make sure to get out there too and do that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So people want in on that.
Well, sure. I mean, the last radio's interviews I ever did in bricks and mortar, I got 3 minutes.
Right.
And that was promoting a feature film.
Right.
So,
well, that's another thing that sets Straight Talk apart. The entire show is dedicated to that one topic and that one guest. Mm-hmm. And only our opening segment is us. And we bring the guest on after the first break, and they stay with us to the end.
That's right.
And, a lot of our guests were very surprised and grateful at that opportunity, too. Mm-hmm. It makes them feel more like, people and compadres and colleagues and things. And it's not just, oh, well, you're starting this movie, so here, tell us about the movie and who made your dress. And, okay, thanks for stopping by.
Right.
We know the names of their children. We know their anniversary date. We know... how they propose to their significant other. We know, we become, part and parcel of that period of time in their life, and they ours.
Well, and some of the other things that I've heard from past guests in conversations after the shows, whether it be an email or on Skype or however, I've heard more than once that not only did they feel comfortable on our shows, but they also really felt like they could be themselves. They weren't,
right.
Everybody, when you get out of the shower and throw on your clothes in the morning and you step outside your door and head off to work or wherever you go, you've got that front there. You've got that exterior public persona that you put out. Well, with any kind of celebrities, it's that, magnified probably 10 times.
Right.
So, and the greater the level of celebrity, the more well-known the people are, the greater the travesty that TMZ will, call you the Antichrist if you slip just one little iota. I mean, the pressure is exceedingly difficult to live with on a minute to minute basis.
Right, and well, we know we've had our share of it. I mean, just
Sure.
go back to the stalking episodes. We've had our crazy fans and our crazy episodes and things, where we had to endure too. Not even on the level of that, but
Well, now don't get us
enough.
wrong. Don't get us wrong, folks. We didn't have stalking episodes. No, we didn't actually.
We
have
did
our,
episodes on stalking. Yeah, sorry.
We didn't actually have our stalkers on the radio. Yeah.
That's right. No.
No.
Well, actually, at one time we did, unbeknownst to us.
Okay, never mind.
But yeah, but that is very true. It's not about their celebrity; it's about them as people, and the same goes with the others. A lot of with the authors that we had on.
Sure.
It's about the topical things that they wrote. But perfect example, Rodney King. He
Absolutely.
was. We were among his very, very last interviews before his death.
Yeah.
And we had a hell of a good time with Rodney. It wasn't about his drug use. It wasn't about the incident. It was about the man.
Yeah.
Where'd he get to be when that occurred, and what kind of man is he now?
Absolutely.
That kind of thing. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
I can't even remember what the topic of the show was, but we were greatly saddened. It was only a week or two after our interview that he passed away.
Yep. Yep.
So, very, very true.
Yep.
Same thing with Big Marv, our good buddy Big Marv, who we're actually going to have on this season because he's got a new show coming out too, and he just messaged me not long ago, and he's going to be back on.
I did see that. Yeah.
Right, but it wasn't about his stint on his cousin's famous show. It's
No.
about him, and we spoke mostly about his charity work with children.
Well, and I've always found him a lot more likable than his cousin.
Well, true enough, but then again, we haven't really interviewed everybody in the show.
Oh.
So.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah.
But we've had our hystericals, and we've had our faux pas and our funnies and things like that. And
Well, I gotta bring it up because it was pretty much my all-time favorite special horrible episode, which was
I
our
can't
disaster episode.
the disaster episode.
You gotta-
That ties into what I was going to go into next, and you can tell them is about trying to run, a media empire from a home studio.
Right.
So that was right.
Family gets in the way.
OMG, and just the whole building issues get in the way, and But go ahead. Yes, that was hysterical.
Well, the disaster episode wasn't intending to be a disaster episode. It was actually an episode of Straight Talk.
Right.
And it was back when we were over doing broadcasts through Blog Talk Radio. And we had everything set up and ready to go. And we had a guest that was supposed to call in that night. And, all our T's dotted, all our I's crossed. We're ready to roll at, no kidding, 2 minutes to airtime.
Right.
And Kate's off in her other booth. She can't see me.
No, I can't hear you. Can't see you. Right.
And, well, you could hear me because before all hell broke loose, I had you in.
Oh, okay.
So we were just waiting that 2 minute countdown to start the show up, and yours truly, yes, good old Crash decides now is a good time to spill 2 liters of pop.
That's right.
All over the control room. Now, if you had a camera on me at the time, you would have peed yourself laughing because I was such this spaz. This thing comes over down on my keyboard. And in my jerky spaz to try and save it from spraying, it flips up in the air, spinning pop all over the place, and then lands facing the other way on the desk, dumping. And I literally saw it, glug, 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 pour over and right into the computer. So Kate's rolling now. She can't hear me, but she thinks she's on the air, so she starts off the show.
That's right.
And I'm sitting here, I'm screaming down to Gia, give me some towels, give me, I'm running in the bathroom and I'm grabbing towels. I'm trying to save everything. The computer's fried. There's smoke coming out of it.
No.
She comes upstairs. She's laughing her butt off, and okay, so bad enough, but whatever. I'm like, okay, well, damage control. Kate's still going on her end somehow, I think. So if I could just get all my stuff straightened out here, I can get back up and get back into it and continue on,
Right.
ever trying to be the professional.
That's right.
Well,
And I'm trying to do now. The commercial segment came, and I'm like, okay, and we'll be right back after this break, and nothing. And I'm thinking to myself, where is he? And I don't know if I should, run out of my booth and get to the control room, which was upstairs in the loft at the time. Not even in, we built a studio now that's all inclusive, that our office is in studio and everything is here.
Mm-hmm.
But now I don't know what to do.
No.
Because he's not talking back to me and there's silence, and I muted my mic, thankfully, so my, listeners couldn't hear. And I'm hoping with all my hope that he's hit the button to make the commercials roll. And I don't know. And then I don't hear anything in my ears. So I know the commercials are like 2 minutes and 7 seconds or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I go back on and I start trying to roll, and well, go on then. It's your baby. Go on.
Well, we're going to break for another quick commercial here, but when we come back, I'll tell you how that whole episode ended up getting on the air. Be right back, gang.
The Chevy Cruze offers an EPA estimated 36 mpg highway. That's crazy.
Crazy efficient.
10 standard airbags.
And you get StabiliTrak with traction control.
That is like crazy protection. This interior is
insane.
It is insane. I was going to say crazy again.
Visit your local Chevy dealer today. Right now, get this great lease on a 2013 Chevy Cruze LS for around $149 a month.
Fourth down, Coach. What do we do?
I'll tell you what we do. I want you to go on the field, look for anyone with an O. Let's kill them with kindness. Jimmy, I want you to make balloon animals. Tyler, make little tea cozies, something fun.
Are you okay?
We will win this for Mother Russia!
Coach, eat a Snickers.
Why is that, Chief?
You get a little loopy when you're hungry. Better.
Now let's go for it!
Go get him, guys.
You're not you when you're hungry. Snickers satisfies.
When you have cable and your picture freezes, you get irritable. When you get irritable, your work suffers. When your work suffers, the wrong man is convicted. When the wrong man is convicted, he has time to think. When he has time to think, he thinks about you a lot. And when he thinks about you a lot, your house explodes. Don't have your house explode. Get rid of cable and upgrade to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
Hey, look at that new Toyota.
Look at that new Toyota.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Civic, you better look at this new Toyota Corolla. Now, you can get a 2013 Corolla with 0% financing. Or lease this Corolla LE for just $179 a month.
Look at that new Toyota.
Toyota, let's go places.
HTLA Radio 1.
And we're back, gang, and sorry about that little error in the commercial segment there. I accidentally hit a button and, well, almost had another disaster show. So you are listening to HTLA Radio 1 New York. Currently, we are just coming back into our third segment now. And before the break, I was actually talking about our disaster episode and the events that led up to what is now our famous clip. I think that 18-minute clip actually has more downloads than I think anything else.
That is so funny.
It
I
is.
needed with Leslie Nielsen.
It is. So yeah, where was I? I got to the point where I was trying to clean everything
hysterical.
up.
Glug,
She is
glug,
hysterical.
glug. Right.
I'm watching the pop pour into the computer. So luckily I had another couple of computers that were up and fine and running on the other side of my workstation there. So I managed to get the show back up and get back in. But then, of course, because I had left the interface, I couldn't sync back up with you. I was in another interface, but it was another show.
Oh, and I was panicking. Oh, my goodness.
So she's totally boned at this point.
I am. And I'm trying to carry it. And I'm just like, okay. And I started talking to the listeners and telling them, like, what was going on, that I couldn't hear the control room.
And then, it was great. Actually, it was masterful how you handled that whole thing because it was kind of like the zombie apocalypse had happened.
That's what it felt like. Yeah.
You didn't know it.
I didn't.
The chat room was gone. You couldn't, talk to anybody in the chat room because I was down. I was in another interface, so I'm typing away and trying to get a hold of you, and I can't.
Right, the Skype was down, right? Mm-hmm.
Right, and yeah, it was a long story short. At the very end of the clip, before her recording actually did stop, all you can hear, and this is the exciting climax of the whole bloody thing, because it just worked out perfectly with you and what you were doing.
Right.
I had actually asked Gia to go into your booth and kind of give you a little bit of a sit rep when she could, quietly kind of thing.
Right.
And kind of get you up to speed so that, if you were still going, keep going. And I've got no control over the show, but if it keeps rolling for, the full length of time, let's try and do the show. But of course, that was all for naught because the guest couldn't call you.
Right, that's right.
So long story short, Gia opens the door to the booth and she goes in, and this is just when I realized something. I'm going through the gear. I've pulled the computer out that had the pop spilled all over it, and I realized that the pop didn't actually go into the computer. The computer was still fine, but what had actually happened is one of our cats, one of our lovely cats.
I used to foster cats with feline leukemia. I had 11 or so when we first got married.
Yep, and the good old Crash kicked every single one of those sick little kitties out.
No, don't listen to him.
Out into the snow.
Don't listen to him.
I still watch them out there. They're all bony and emaciated. And they're like, feed me.
No, don't listen to him.
Well, anyway, Gia, of course, because Gia is Gia, she left the door to Kate's booth open. And when I'm going down through my cables on the back of the computer, I've seen that one of these cats has chewed right through my headphone cable.
Right. So
there was actually nothing wrong with the show. There was nothing wrong with the computer, and I just had the added bonus of spilling pop everywhere just to really infuriate me, I think. And then of course I realized that one of the cats has done this to me for the 900th time because this cat has a problem with chewing.
Yeah,
and actually, I got to say that cat isn't out in the snow.
She's still here.
No, still here. Yeah, I got rid of the other 10 that didn't do anything. Idiot.
No.
So anyway, Gia's got the door open, and all you hear from me is effing cats. and that
was the end of the show.
That's right. The clip just stopped there for whatever reason, and we got that clip, and
yes,
it's classic.
Oh, that is, and it's my face hurts just thinking about that, because if you know my husband, well, this is, he can laugh about it now. But, at the time, oh my God, this is the end of the world. And, so.
I was going to gut that thing and string it up and stretch out its skin and wear it as a hat.
And anybody that got in the way, it was, he gets pretty serious about little things like that. And so, yeah, but it was good. And that's just, some more of the memorable moments we have here on Straight Talk. But, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But, we've done a lot. Like I said, the Taylor Family Trust was born from our guests that we've had on the show.
Absolutely, yeah.
And, one of our guests had remarked about the network that we had built, after like the second year of doing shows, and the types of guests that we had on, and that, I used to always talk about my philanthropic work that I used to do. Always children and animal based, globally and things like that. And they had suggested that, I start something that would kind of network all those kind of guests that I had that did that same sort of thing. So, in fact, it used to be a requirement on Straight Talk when we first interviewed for guests.
That's right, too, yeah.
That they had to have some kind of charitable affiliation that they could discuss, that we could promote on the show. Right. That was tied into whatever the topic was and things like that. So, and I think that's actually how we came upon finding Mark Brown, an active dog.
I believe you're correct, yeah.
Right. So, but after a while, it just became, the topics just became more serious too, as the world events became more serious. And it's kind of hard to find a charity or an organization or things like that for some of the things that we were discussing, and like bullying and, things like that. So,
sure, yeah.
It was no longer kind of a requirement, but, I always do inquire of my guests, because when you reach a certain stature in your profession, there's to me, I've always believed there should be a point, that you give back, and it doesn't matter what our, fiscal status has been. I've always gone by the third rule, and whatever, we do have, a third of that gets put back into the universal kitty and given back in whatever way that we can do that.
Right.
So, I've always been a firm believer of that. So, yeah, so I've always made sure that, whoever that we had on there had that kind of, or at least desire to. Ashley Page, that was a hugely poignant turning point show for my husband.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a bikini designer to the stars.
Right.
And, of course, I was all excited because we were having a bikini designer come on our radio show. And then, of course, 10 minutes into the show, I realized, well, shit, I can't see anything.
She's on radio. He meant to say shoot, too.
Oh, that's
Bleep
right.
that out in post. Yeah.
Oh, I'll just do this.
Yeah, okay.
That makes...
Well, at least it's not the second one.
Makes everything all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Ashley came on, and he was all excited. And, and then when he realized he was on radio, he's like, well, this is going to, suck, because what am I going to talk to a bikini designer about? This is Kate's meet. She's into the fashion and all that stuff. And then she comes on and just like completely and totally blows him away with, her story of how she came up and how she came to design. She became a bikini designer to celebrities, but she started out designing, bathing suits for women who've had mastectomies and things like that. And that's how she got involved. So, and we found out just how deep, she was. And, a great many of the things that she spoke to, I was actually, had been laying on my husband since we got married. And it was like a year and a half into our marriage. And, and he started having that kind of
epiphany.
Yeah, epiphany to awareness and changing his, thought consciousness and elevating a bit and stuff, and
absolutely.
Yeah, not that it's not still about bikini chicks for him, because it is, don't get me wrong. But, he does it in a more evolved way now. So,
Hey, baby.
Yeah.
Do you have any, causes?
Yeah. But, it's true, because the guests, we've done a great deal. We've been told for, the guests that we've had on as far as promotions and things like that.
Sure.
But they have had a huge impact on us and our growth and the growth of the show and the integrity of the show and our own personal, kind of substance that we go for. So
yeah, absolutely. Yep. Got to agree.
Definitely. And, I love to hear from our listeners that do follow us and listen to us on a regular basis. And they tell me, wow, this guest, she could have been talking directly to me, or, his life is so similar to what I went through, or, that one inspired me. And now I think I'm going to do this.
Well, and going kind of backtracking a little bit to working out the format for Straight Talk, for example, when we did the revamping and we changed it to Kate and Crash, and we went and focused more specifically on celebrities within the entertainment industry as a whole. We had conversations like, well, if we're going to have these guests every week and we're going to have them call in, and we're finding that these stories that they're coming from and that they're telling are so many people relate to them, so many people listen to the episodes. Maybe we should actually entertain having people call in and ask something of the guests. And we realized pretty quickly in kind of going through that in a little bit of a pre-production kind of idea that wouldn't work.
Right.
And, while so many people would be calling in and relating to the guest and, sharing experiences and all that kind of thing.
Well, we did try that, and it jammed up the Skype.
Right. And you lose 7 hours when your show's only an hour and a half.
And then the John Sheck show, all his girl fans crashed the chat. And
that was nutty.
That was when we stopped pre-promoting.
That was like, having Elvis on that guy,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was nutty.
It was. And after that, we stopped, pre-promoting as far ahead as we used to, because it was just overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
So it was better to not do the live thing and just have them on and then promote it once it was done, so we couldn't have those kind of crashes. You know?
And especially after we got that 22 internet station and 3 bricks and mortar station network syndication that we got in 2011.
That's right. That's right.
You know, we had noticed right away, like, I don't remember specifically if we had anybody of note on that particular week when we first did that, but man, as soon as we got put out to those other stations, including bricks and mortar in Milwaukee, Los Angeles, and Dallas.
Dallas, right. Mm-hmm.
You know, we were putting our stuff out, you know, sometimes over a week ahead of time. You know, join us on the 23rd. We're going to have, you know, Weird Al Yankovic or what have you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and we were getting quite busy and slammed in live broadcast chats and on our phone lines and our Skype lines and everything as it was. When that happened, when we went over to that 25 station network, it was uber nuts.
Right, and it's so odd because even with the time difference, you know, sometimes we were, you know, played early in the morning or super late at night or, you know, rush hour time when, you know, and it didn't matter what time it was, but, you know, that was another thing that quelled kind of our decision to do the live thing as much. And, you know, it was good because then we started actually scheduling bigger kind of guests because we couldn't, you know, nail their schedules down with being live at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's 5 p.m. in LA.
Right.
And,
you're in the middle of gridlock.
Yeah. Or dinner, or you just got done shooting and you just want to go home and pass out. And, you know, whatever it was, it just the time didn't jive. So,
yeah.
You know, when we stopped going live, that was the better thing.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
Gave us more freedom and stuff that we could do.
Yeah.
But our shows are recorded live, and we're doing web simulcasts of the videos. We're delving into that a bit. And so it's not like we'll do a show and then in post we'll edit out the bad stuff and we'll put in good stuff, and what you hear is what you get, and, you know, that's pretty much it. You know, so.
Well, and I think, you know, in terms of, you know, keeping it real.
Right.
You know, I think that's the way to do it. I mean, there's a lot of people out there, especially with the new technologies and podcasting and whatnot, who actually will sit down and they will completely, you know, they will spend, you know, 1 hour doing a show, and then they will spend 12 or 15 hours in post-production making it just tickety and then putting it out.
Right, but it's all, to me, irrelevant. And don't even get me started on the podcast thing, because we don't do that. You know, so that's a huge. That's
I wasn't saying that we
did
that.
I know, but that's the trouble with that. You know, there are so many. It's inundated, and you know.
Well, and that's how we're set so much apart from that.
Exactly. It just, you know how I feel about that. It just so burns my buttons, though. I gotta say, it really does.
Burns your butt?
It burns my... No, that's your
right.
job.
I do that.
Yeah, it burns my buttons, Daddy. Burns my buttons.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because, you know... Well, we had been accused of that early on. You know. And, well, accused is a strong word.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Well, we were lumped into that category, and they didn't understand that, no, our shows are actually scripted, and we produce our radio shows the same way we would produce a network television show.
Absolutely.
That's what we do, and we just translated it to internet radio.
Yeah.
And, you know, we are the first original, all original, all talk.
And you know,
station.
every 6 months or so, I do another search, and I try to find. It's almost like I dare myself to go out and find another internet radio station that does what we do and does it anywhere near as well. And you know, I can't even find anybody who does what we do.
No, they do. They'll do the music thing and stuff like that, and you know, it's not.
Drives me nuts.
Yeah. Well, forget that they don't have licensing for it. That is something that drives you nuts. I know.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just that's not what it's about.
And even when some of those guys cut in and say, "Oh, that was so and so and so and so," and you're listening to blah blah blah, and here's something or other from Madonna. 9 times out of 10, they don't even have a DJ voice.
Right. Well, that's another thing.
You know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right.
So, with us, I mean, here's an example. If, a fine example in the studio. This is a show that we've run about a year and a half ago, back to our beginnings.
Right.
Because we felt strongly about having a show that was, you know, more rooted directly in the music industry. Still having that same kind of easygoing interview format. And
and it was hosted by Vicky Natali. She was a former Star Search winner.
That was the last one. But I mean, my point is that, you know, we didn't just go out and get any fruit bag off Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, we did casting. Okay. And when we come across a talent like Vicky Natali, former 2006 Star Search grand champion.
Oh, right.
I mean, that's Star Search saying that this person's got talent. So, you know, you don't need to tell me anymore. I know this person's got talent. We would have interviews with her, and we would go through the casting process. And when it got to the point where we were comfortable in, yeah, this girl's got right personality. She's got a good voice. She can sing.
She's going to be reliable.
She's going to be reliable and professional. Let's go with that. I mean, we did that. And then, of course, what was it?
Right.
6 weeks later, she gets an offer to do a reality TV show, and she's out of there.
That's
you know,
it. Yep.
Better offers come along. But with some, you know, doofus off Facebook or somewhere, they're not going to get a better offer.
Well, that's right, but not that I don't think there's talent to be found in the podcasting community or whatever it is. It's just that
absolutely
it makes, you know, it's. I remember one person we had interviewed for a position for a show that we were thinking of developing, and this person was kind of like doing sweepers for the local radio station, the bricks and mortar radio station.
Right.
And we were going to develop an entire several $1,000 half-hour show on our network, you know, and this person just felt like it was more behooving to be doing sweepers at a brick and mortar station rather than have his own shows, hang out with the people we hang out with and do the things that we do. And he felt it was... Needless to say, I don't think he's working there anymore, and I don't think he's podcasting even anymore. So,
no,
you know, that's just what happens. But that was always my issue with the podcasters, because that was the mentality. If you're on internet radio or if you're broadcasting via the internet, then you're not a real broadcaster.
But you see, here's the other thing, and this is very important to you folks at home. So check this out. The important thing is that because internet broadcasting is a new medium,
right?
And the FCC isn't regulating it.
Right.
Which means that all these idiots with a $5 headset and a laptop will get on the air and, you know, spew about what I used to think was, you know, conspiracy theories and aliens and all that stuff. And
there's a lot of those, too. That's how the medium got started. Yeah.
The government went and did 911 and all that stuff, okay? All those people, they didn't have to do pirate radio anymore and risk being caught because, well, now you're on the internet.
Right.
So to have a credible person and or company try to embark on the goal of creating a broadcast empire through this new medium, this new technology that, you know, I mean, you're listening to us right now. It's crystal clear. It's HD. You can still bring a good professional product. The difference is the professionalism of the people.
Right.
And that level of talent and having or not having the ability to recognize that you have a voice and an ability to speak to people and have them want to listen to you, you know?
Right, but that's also why the sponsors that make radio and television by the extension of that won't touch podcasters.
Right.
Because there's no regulation. They're putting their entire fortunes that they've spent decades building at risk if they hire some podcaster that just can't stop swearing or
may or may not do the show or
exactly.
Yeah.
So, well, that's why we created the National Association of Internet Broadcasters, and
NAIB.
That's right. And there's a regulatory commission now being formed and things like that it's not out to be the FCC and, well, we're going to fine you and we're going to do this. It's to create a professional standard.
That's right.
So, you know, and that was going back, since this is a retrospective of how Straight Talk began and why, then, you know, for those that might be new listeners of ours, like my husband said, he's film and television 17 years. I'm a screenwriter. I've been in the entertainment industry, ironically, as a singer, you know, initially. But, you know, then into film and TV and stuff like that, design and all that behind the scenes kind of thing. But when we married and moved here and started our life and our family together, it wasn't in the New York metro area. So doing film and TV was kind of out of our reach at the moment.
Right.
And I was taking care of an elderly mom who has since passed away in 2011. So, we couldn't do film and TV at the time, but we had to work, and this is what we do.
And if you're asking the question, yes, we did recast a new mother.
Yes, right.
We have one.
But that's the thing, and that's how this whole entire concept was born, because just like we would professionally structure our television shows or a film, we do with our radio.
Right.
And our radio shows also.
Yep.
Pacing's really important to me. All those things are really important to me. So.
Alrighty. Well, that's all good stuff. Isn't that good stuff?
That's great stuff.
I think it's awesome stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take another quick 2-minute break, folks. Got to go get some more coffee or something, and we'll be right back with more Straight Talk with Kate and Crash.
So do you guys think being fast is better than being slow?
Yes! It's better to be fast, to not be bitten by a werewolf, and then you'll be turned into one, and you'll have to stay in, and then you'll have to get shade because you'll be too hot, and then you're like... which means I wish I was back to a human.
What?
It's not complicated. Faster is better. And AT&T is the nation's fastest 4G LTE network for your iPhone 5.
With 160 more miles per tank, the distances aren't getting shorter. The trucks are going farther. The new 2013 Ram 1500. With the best-in-class fuel economy, engineered to move heaven and earth. Guts, glory, Ram.
I stood outside assessing the situation. I knew it could be rough in there, but how rough, there was no way to know for sure.
Hey, guys.
Daddy, it's pink!
But hey, a new house, it's a blank canvas, and we got a great one, thanks to a really low mortgage rate from Navy Federal Credit Union.
Pink?
So she's a princess. You got a problem with that?
Hoorah! Hoorah!
4 million members, 4 million stories. Navy Federal Credit Union.
The rich Sony sound and Vio. Sound out.
Sony.
HTLA Radio One.
And welcome back, everybody, to Straight Talk with Kate and Crash at HTLA Radio 1 New York. It's 43 degrees right now in Central Park, and it looks like snow tonight, tomorrow, and maybe even the next day.
Woot, woot.
Oot, oot.
I love I prefer the rainy. If it's going to blizzard, okay with the snow. I just want it to blizzard, but...
Okay, well, you know what? We've had this conversation, and I wanted to move to Florida. Florida doesn't have snow, actually.
No, they have giant bugs and typhoons, and we've had that conversation.
And with all good typhoons, there's rain.
I know. I love the
Lots of rain.
stormies, but it's so scary.
Well, that's what I'm there for. I scare off and beat off the big bugs. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't say that. I do something with bugs.
You beat up the bugs. You beat up.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
No, we don't have time for that. Yeah, so I beat up the bugs. That's what I do. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, unless they're spiders, then I take care of them. I carry them and I put them outside and I speak to them and they're my friends.
Yeah, that's really kind of odd. That's one thing I'll say about you that I've found is quite odd, the way you talk to spiders and they seem to listen to you.
Well, they do. And, butterflies land on me and things. I just have a rapport with insects. It's crazy. I do. It is, They know I won't hurt them, I think. It's something in my pheromones or something.
It's something, all right. I'll tell you that much. So you are listening to HTLA Radio 1 New York at HTLA973.com if you're wanting to check out the old website there.
And available on iTunes and YouTube. As well.
iTunes, YouTube. I think we put this out to Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, iTunes, YouTube. Tube Time.
Correct.
All that kind of stuff.
That new sexy Flash website coming. Oh, I'm so excited.
I know.
Well, that's because it's my design.
And I saw you working on that a little bit today. And I got to say, it's looking good, and it's kind of neat the way you can do all that stuff.
Thank you.
I'm just a lame old template guy.
Don't
if
let
it looks
him kid
sexy,
you.
I'll
He's a
throw it up
graphics
there.
guy.
Well, yeah, okay, I'll give you that, and a photographer and all that good stuff. But
right,
you've got the touch, I think, when it comes to websites. I don't know.
No, really. Well, I appreciate that. And my newest, I should probably, it's still a little bit under wraps, but there's a new life and style channel coming your way. And it's called Pout, and it's a new life and style channel for the feminine movement. So it's all Fierce Kitty Omni Media backed, and obviously I'm hosting the channel. And
are you guys going to have a parade?
No, we don't need a parade for being normal.
Well, I'm looking forward to having George Takai on the show here at Straight Talk. Because
yes, this season. Oh my!
I'm going to do my impression of him, sure. But I want him. Yes, I want Captain Sulu to explain to me how he figures he gets a parade and I don't.
Right. Yeah.
And here's the other thing.
But we love him, so we're
we do. We do.
We have shows, I think, scheduled in that vein as well too now, because I guess the Lifestyle is also another good venue for such like that, but
well, absolutely. But I want to get back to the feminine blog.
Okay.
Pout. Tell us more about that.
Well, like I said, it's a life and style blog, and those that have followed me personally, when I used to have the fiercekitty.com as my fan site, and some of my other endeavors, I cook, I design, it's all about, I'm kind of the cooler Martha Stewart kind of thing, the sexier
Stewart.
Yeah, exactly,
saucy Stewart.
Right. So but so it's life, it's style, it's design, and it's based on being a woman in the 21st century that doesn't have to emasculate the men in her life to be a woman. We can still have, obviously, professional positions because that's what we do. But, we can also have dinner on the table every night at 6 o'clock and
absolutely
make the men in our lives feel like men and, know how to do that. Because it's not that we don't want to. I think it's in this generation that we're not taught to anymore. Men aren't taught how to be men. And, women and girls aren't taught how to be feminine women and girls because it's all about your rights and, doing that and going after that. And that is a huge thing to have lost. And there's an extraordinary power in being feminine that girls and women don't understand and are losing access to, I believe.
From a psychological point of view, because I know you studied that too, isn't it fair to say that even the most hardy of feminists still has those same wants and needs inside?
Well, they do, except for the most diehard, and those are the ones that are trauma-based feminists, such as Susan Powter.
Right.
Susan Powter wasn't a feminist until her husband cheated on her and took everything from her and robbed her of what she knew to be who she was. And then she became the Susan Powter that we know and love. And, but those are trauma-based feminists. And then you have the ones that are prejudice-based feminists, which just grow up hearing their mother and her friends talk about feminism and following those kind of footsteps.
Yeah.
And then as for my part, I mean, I was never a feminist, obviously, but I raised my daughter alone for 10 years, and I became incredibly educated during that time period. I didn't date. It was all about just Gia and my self-betterment. And to me, that's the most positive side of feminism that there is. Mm-hmm. Your own self-development.
Yeah.
It's like I always say, if you want to be the tallest building on the block, then you build yourself the tallest building. You don't knock down all the other buildings around you.
Okay.
And that's what feminism does in its present state. It says that women can only be empowered women if we knock down all the men around them.
Right.
Around them. So, and I don't believe that. I believe that I've always believed change only occurs from the inside anyway. So, you use your femininity to your own advantage. And, there's a huge thing lacking. And mm-hmm. We've done our feminism shows, and everyone that we talk to, even the diehard feminists, have to agree that feminism had its place.
Oh, hell, we've talked to former CEOs of international corporations, dear.
Right.
Who have also...
Women.
Women
Right.
who have unequivocally agreed with you and couldn't even come up with any kind of an argument for it, yeah.
Right, because what do you do when you take both parents out of the home and nobody is there to raise the kids and da-da-da, and this is where we are, so...
That's right. So now, getting back to the show, I'd like to actually talk about the future of Straight Talk. What do you see it growing into this year, next year?
I'm very glad you asked me that, because this is exactly why I kind of wanted to do a sentimental retrospective, because Straight Talk is about to change.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to... And news to you.
I'm going to get my walk-in papers.
It's just the producer. Yeah, no, pink slip after the show. No. It's going to be the same format, clearly. It's us. We work, innumerably, unequivocally well together, and...
That's because your hand's always on my side.
Ah, yes, that. Not because I cook so well for you.
Well,
Are you
that too.
kidding?
Yep.
But, and it's going to have the same structure, 90 minutes, the format, the whole thing, the pacing. It's all going to be the same. Same guests, same ideal. But, we're going to get bigger and better this year. And our guest list is going to be, bigger.
Even more A-list, you betcha.
Even more A-list, that's right, because, we've reached that level now where, we're being sought after for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's about how many listeners that, Howard Stern has, or how many commercials is played on the E segment where they're interviewed. They like us and want to be interviewed by us because of the things that we've discussed earlier.
Absolutely.
And, because we give them substance. And it's not just another fluff piece or a press junket or any of that stuff. It's actually, substantial for them. And, it's correlative, and we give them things to think about, things that are important. Yep. Just beside that latest project and thing that, Paul Walker, I wasn't going to talk about this because it's still pretty painful for me, but he passed away 2 days ago in a car wreck, completely out of the blue. The star, Fast and the Furious, 40 years old, left behind a young daughter. And not many people knows he died on his way to his charity organization event that he founded. They only see him for the actor that he is, but
right.
We see our industry friends, as friends and as people, and not just what they do, but what they are. So that's going to get even more topical. And we also hope to continue what we discuss on the shows outside of Straight Talk. We want Straight Talk to go further than just the episode. So, that's where it's going to deepen. And, the Taylor Family Trust is still there. And it's been a little dormant because I've been a little busy.
Yeah.
Having a baby and all that. So, but that's going to get picked back up again and, reworked as well.
Right.
And because we call a lot of guests from that.
Sure.
I've gotten a lot of celebrity guests that wanted to talk because of the charity thing, as opposed to what the current entertainment project they were working on. It was about getting, promotions for that side of what they do in life.
Absolutely.
So, you can't, that, set that aside in any way.
No.
That has to be addressed, so.
No.
But,
okay.
yeah. Bigger, better guests, same kind of stuff. We're going to be rolling out with a new look and a new sound and, for things. So HTLA is getting, it's makeover for season 4 as well. And so are the webisodes, and they're coming this week, and that's going to be really, really fun because we had rehearsals yesterday, and it was so much fun. Yeah. So we'll start those Friday.
I'd also like to add so much freaking better. Nothing against us and what we were doing there. I mean, we originally started doing these webisodes at HTLA, and if you haven't checked them out yet,
You should.
Yeah, okay, fine.
They're funny.
You can go to HTLA973.com, and you can actually hit the old videos page, and you'll find all 65, I think, there.
Right.
We were rehearsing yesterday for 66, or in Kate's words...
Season 3, episode 1.
Season 4.
No, the webisodes have it's only season 3.
Don't confuse people. It's season 4, episode 1, and... just do what you're told and you'll be fine.
Yes, sir.
they're we didn't have any HD cameras at the time. We just kind of threw it together as a Kate kind of thought, in keeping with that whole keeping in touch with the listeners and the followers,
right?
This would be one more medium that they could go and click on and watch and enjoy. And a lot of people have said to us over the years that we have this great relationship. We have this epic banter kind of thing.
Yeah, no one realizes. There's so many people that didn't realize actually that we were even married for a long time.
No.
And, on the webisodes, this is our home studio. This is our home. The kids are crying, the dogs bark, and, I have to go get coffee because we're out of coffee.
But you don't know that because we're pros.
Well, that too. But our
except for the
listeners
disaster
know.
episode.
Well, no, we say it on the webisodes too. We're a lot more relaxed on the webisodes.
It's funny you say that because I got that just yesterday. I was guest appearing on somebody else's show, and one of the questions was, when they were asking about Straight Talk in specific, they said, So Crash, we know all about you. Tell us more about who is this Kate and what's up with her. They don't even know that we're married. So, I guess that does make us kind of special in yet even another way.
Not helmet special.
No, not that kind of special.
No.
We're going to go away for our last 2-minute break here, gang, and we'll be back in just 2 minutes here with the closing segment of the show. Stay tuned with us at HTLA Radio One.
Hi, welcome to Toyota. I'm Jan.
Hi, Jack's gonna pick us a car.
Yeah, Toyotas are so reliable, he could drive it one day. Great timing. It's our Toyota Time Sales event.
Camry, gonna save, reliable. What color?
Oh, red with a cool stereo. We have that.
Now you can get a new 2013 Camry with 0% financing. Or lease this Camry LE now for just $209 a month. And you get Toyota Care 2-year maintenance. Toyota, let's go places.
The images you're about to see may be difficult to look at. Sadly, every year millions of innocent cakes are mangled, mistreated, and hurt. But there is something you can do. Go to the freezer section and pick up new Cool Whip frosting. It's whipped, fluffy, and perfectly sweet, so it spreads on easily, leaving cakes unharmed. Please help. Cool Whip frosting. Together, we can change the way cakes are frosted.
It's a stick revolution. Now skin goes shine-free and naturally matte in just one step. New Fit Me Stick Foundation from Maybelline, New York. The first of its kind. Fresh gel foundation with an anti-shine powder core inside. Dissolves oil while it blends to a natural matte finish. For coverage that's fresh, flawless, one step perfect. New Fit Me Stick Foundation from Maybelline.
Stick with us.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline.
What are we gonna do today?
Stay strong. Take on the heat. Bounce back.
Get healthy-looking hair that stands up to styling. Discover Platinum Strength, new from Tresemme. It repairs up to 2 years of damage by reinforcing hair's natural protective barrier. For resilient hair with all its beautiful strength. What will you do with your salon-strong, chair-worthy hair? Tresemme. Professional. Affordable.
HTLA Radio One.
Okay, so we're back, and you're listening to Straight Talk with Kate Taylor and Crash Jesus Taylor on HTLA Radio 1 New York. It's 10:48 p.m. What? I'm what?
PMS. You're so rusty, it ain't even funny.
What are you talking about?
All right, we're back, and you're listening to Straight Talk with Kate and Crash on HTLA Radio 1 New York. That's how you deliver the line. Just
God. Well, look, the only thing I forgot was that you're in my show title now.
Hi.
Sorry.
Yeah,
It's Kate and Crash. I'm so used to saying Straight Talk with Kate Taylor.
Yeah, I know. You even wrote it down.
I did. It's scripted right there. So,
yeah.
Okay. So, well, this evening we've been discussing, this was the birth of everything for us, this show, Straight Talk. And, it was... it's what HTLA began as. And, it means a great deal to us, obviously, or we wouldn't still be doing it for 4 years and constantly coming up with new things and going at it and we're not quitters, that kind of thing.
But we'd still be going at it. Yeah.
I just had the baby, thanks. Don't want another one just yet.
Nope.
So, and we hope that it means a great deal to our listeners, too.
Sure.
Like I said, our guests love us, and we want to continue to bring that great relationship between those out there, who can discuss the issues that matter with the people that matter the most in those, topical situations and with what they have to offer. It's not a selfish-based show. It's about giving to the world and the listeners, information and viewpoints and things they might not get anywhere else.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Putting our 2 cents in, whether you like it or not. Sorry, it's my show. And, just growing that and making that build. And we love your feedback. So HTLA973.com. Please always feel free. You can email us. C. Taylor and or K. Taylor at HTLA973.com is our email. So we'd love to hear from you.
As always.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and in the future, like I said, we just want to keep going with, what we're doing. I know bigger, better. That's always been our motto. How about you?
Well, I think for kind of rewinding it back a bit to just before the break, what topics would I like to address and with whom?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I did want to know about that. Where'd that go?
Yeah.
Oh, is that why you were saying that I was okay.
That was that
Gotcha.
segment you were running on there. Anyway,
yeah.
what it's some of the topics I'd like to see with Straight Talk is first of all, I actually kind of rewind a little bit from that. I'd actually like to see the show go 2 or even 3 hours a week, and there's a reason I say that.
Okay.
Oh yes, because I was thinking, and whenever I think,
that's trouble.
It's a good thing. No,
for him.
But I was just thinking, just earlier in the broadcast when we were talking about how the show has evolved, what it's become now as opposed to what it was in the beginning,
right.
Sort of all those stages of transition and learning that we've gone through to get this show to the format that we're comfortable with now. You know me, I got to always come in and stir crap up. So
it does, true enough.
I was thinking, well, geez, if we did a 2-hour show or even a 3-hour show with Straight Talk every week, not only would that be what we've already got, which is that action-packed hour and a half of today's celebrity and today's cause and today's social commentary.
With a nap time thrown in there.
Well, you can go for a nap. I'm charged. I'm all about this. So,
okay.
But I'd like to actually see, in thinking about what we were talking about earlier, something whereby, we couldn't have guests on the show and then have the general listener call in with questions and comments and all that kind of thing. But we could extend a segment where we do the show in its hour and a half right now, formatted the way it is with that celebrity guest, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Boom, we cut them off at the hour and a half mark, and then maybe open up another half hour or some other time specifically for listeners to call in and give their opinions and comments and that kind of thing. I don't know. I think it would add another dimension to the show.
But in all fairness, we've done that. And because we don't go live because of the problems that it presents. And because of when we've done the listener thing and the caller thing, you can screen them and they'll say they've got the best question in the world for the guest. And then they'll get on the air and they'll talk about my boobs or, something like that. It's just,
Yeah.
So I do see where it would be amazing to be more interactive with our listeners and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's radio. And,
Okay.
It's not like, that kind of thing, I don't think.
All right.
You know what I mean?
All right.
I would like to know more about what topics that you would like to...
Oh, yes, sorry. I got sidetracked with my little...
completely.
Yeah.
Because we already did away with callers like 2 years ago.
Like she's never done that, right, gang?
Babe.
Yeah, no, she didn't just blow the last segment on something completely off topic. No. Any
you had to ask me about feminism. There went that whole thing.
Well,
right.
Trying to,
Yeah, topics.
stick it in there. That's what I do.
After the show.
Yeah. So topics, more topics that I would like to see. I think more film-based stuff. I think we do really good with that.
Yeah.
More television-based stuff, definitely. You know, there's some television series out there that I wouldn't give you a rotten nickel for.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, it's a good majority of them, but there are some series out there and some regular weekly television shows with, you know, decently interesting people and interesting personalities, and I think some of them, because they have a television show or because they're in this movie, there's an aside to that where, you know, if they're not the lead actor, you know, they're not getting the coverage that the lead actor's getting. They're not getting the coverage that the director's getting, you know.
Right.
They
okay. So minor cast members more. Like I wanted to bring crew on Real Talk because I think it's the crew that makes the film. So
right.
That's what I wanted to do more of.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
You know, I'm thinking that, you know, like, I don't know. What's her name? She was in Fast and Furious too.
Jordana Brewster, Michelle Rodriguez.
Michelle Rodriguez. That girl right there. You know, she's been in everything, man. Everything.
Yes.
And does she get top billing? Never.
No.
Well, it's probably because she's a woman and doesn't get paid enough and all that good stuff too. But, you know,
she's no feminine Julia Roberts.
No,
right?
no, but I mean,
I love her.
Well, that's
Oh
what
my
I'm
God.
saying. But you know, she comes across as a very real person. She's
from
done
right here.
everything. She's correct. Avatar, what you name it. Somebody like that, huge in the industry, huge acting talent. You know, she doesn't always play the same role.
No.
You know, absolutely not. And she does them all incredibly well. And if there's one thing I know from you know what I've learned from you in foreign film, there's a heck of a lot of people out there in the business that just get overlooked, and it's not because of lack of substance.
No.
So I think on Straight Talk, I would like to see more of those kind of people.
Okay, so we do more for the not quite knowns.
Or really well knowns, but not really well
Right.
Yeah.
The critically overlooked.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, there's so many actors that I love and adore and think such, you know, so highly of that I feel like don't get their due recognition. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder why that is. Do you think it's poor agenting or?
That's certainly got a good amount to do with it. Sure. I mean, you know, a lot of agents don't really work to get their people in front of casting directors all that effectively.
Right.
The ones that do kind of tend to stick, you know, if you've got, a good example was Richard Dean Anderson. His first agent was a prime example because I met this lady and dealt with her for a period of about 5 years, and she glommed onto him and rode that wave until he got another deal.
Right.
So off he went, and she couldn't glom onto him anymore, so then it was time to open up acting workshops, which she couldn't teach acting if
I know who you're talking
her
about.
life depended on it. And then
Yeah.
she's opening up modeling workshops, and she couldn't model
my
if her
goodness.
life depended on
No
it.
way,
So
Jose.
then she goes and hires some modeling chick who was one of her models at one time, but actually went to school for modeling and really started to understand the runway and all that good stuff. And then, you know, what do we got? Then we've got just...
Well, that was the Marky Costello conversation in that wonderful show about, you know, wearing all the hats now in this industry.
Sure. Absolutely.
Got to be the writer, the host, the actor, the producer, the director,
Well, yeah. And unfortunately, you know, thanks to your hour-and-a-half format, we are out of time.
That's right. Yes. Well, it's important, you know, and that's another reason why I love your listener segment and your Let's Run Over segment. You know, we have sponsors to answer to. We have a format people need to understand and expect the same thing every week.
There we go. Yeah, clap into the microphones. Excellent.
Bang, 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 bang.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
Yes, very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, for myself and my lovely lady, I would like to say thank you all for listening and tuning in and downloading and all the good things that you do to get our shows every week. We're very excited about the new season. Looking forward to bringing all kinds of neat stuff for you. Don't forget to check out On the Boom on Tuesday nights after Crash Talk coming up in the next week or two. Don't forget to check out The Lifestyle, the what is it? The many
lives of kink.
The many lives of kink. Yes. That's going to be a gooder.
It is.
And of course, everything you've come to know and expect from us at HTLA is going to continue right on into
ad infinitum.
Ad infinitum, yes. So I'll let you do your sign off there, and
okay. Well, I appreciate that, and I would like to thank HTLA Radio 1 for keeping us bringing you issues that matter with the people to whom they matter most. And, of course, a huge thank you to our sponsors and supporters. And we're nothing without you, our listeners. Last but not least, the one I can never forget because I'd be in big trouble if I did, my one-of-a-kind, forever everything, producer, co-host, and husband. In case you people didn't know, he's my husband. Christopher Crash Jesus Taylor, you are the best. So be sure to tune in next Monday, Meeps, because you never know who's going to show up on Straight Talk to talk straight. Take my love with you as you go, and be you, be true, and be fierce kitties. Good night.